Welcome back, part 2 of our love story. We just told you about the first day we met on the 4th of July, how we kind of started liking each other even though our expectations were kind of disappointed at the beginning.
So in part 2, we're going to talk about how it turns into an actual relationship, how it starts to solidify, and how we get the foundation of what is now. And it is a crazy story.
And we've never shared this before with anybody but our close friends and family.
So never ends now. Here we go. We've got a few things that we've got to do now as a relationship because there's steps to this process.
Totally.
First one, probably the most important, first kiss. It's time to get to the good stuff, right? We like each other, so now we get to do things that people that like each other do, right? So it was the day after
Our first date.
On the first date, I had an opportunity, but I was like, oh,
I had a beautiful waterfall with flowers he just put in my hair.
She was looking like Rapunzel. I was nailing
And
it.
we were like this and then like this.
It was the first day, and I didn't want to
I
rush
know,
it. I
you don't-
kind of like
yeah.
this girl.
Don't rush it, so do it the next day. But it was cute, and I'm glad you did it because I actually really liked him at this point, whether I was willing to admit that or not. So here we are hammocking, and we talked forever, like so long, about everything, about our missions, about our relationship with God, like trials we've gone through, struggles that we've had, strengths that we endured and gathered, gained.
Strengths that we've gained.
Yes.
Weaknesses that we're working on.
Just hobbies that we like, interests that we actually have a lot in common. And so here I am, just really liking this guy.
I told her I like to travel. I told her the best feeling in the world is having a packed suitcase at an airport.
And I was like, great, I'll marry ya. Just kidding. But I was willing after that to let him kiss me. So here we are in the hammock, cuddling. And I keep looking up.
I would kiss her forehead and I would
Kiss
think
my
about
cheek.
it.
We have a picture. I will put it up. He kissed my cheek. And he kissed my forehead. And I'm like, it's coming. But every time I look at him, he'd just
Like,
look
what are you
away.
I was like, oh, frick. I've got to get gutsy. I haven't done this in 2 years, but we're going to do it right now. Ready, set, go.
No.
Go. Mwah.
Ow. So he kisses me. And then he decides a few days later to leave me. Just kidding. He went on a trip with his guy friends that they were planning. And so it was super fun. And he lost service, so I didn't get to talk to him for a few days. And this is like, since we met, like the longest we went without talking.
Mm-hmm. When we finally got back into service, we were coming back down from where we'd been camping out. And my best friend calls his girlfriend and was like, I better check on her. And I was like, oh yeah, me too.
So he calls me, and I was going up north to dinner at my Mission Presence family's house, and he calls me because he knows I do that every Sunday. So he's like, hey, I'm coming home. are you gonna be there? I'd love to see you. And I'm like, of course I want to see you. I haven't talked to you for a few days. But what he didn't know was 2 other guys were with me going to that dinner. Both of them liked me. I just saw them as really good friends, and I was just trying to keep the peace. I was just trying to keep the friendship. They wanted to go with me.
We've already got the love triangle of the century going on.
And then he just decides to come on in, and I'm like,
a solid love square.
So he shows up, and we're hanging out, and they're from my mission. So I just introduced them. I was like, oh, these are from my mission. Like, I'm not gonna tell them, like, this guy I've gone on dates with, this guy confessed his love to me. So I'm like, I'm not telling him that. I'm just saying they're from my mission.
So you were editing a video on your laptop. That's
Probably,
what it was.
yeah. And this text pops up.
Gotta love Apple for that. You get texts on all of your devices.
And it's my cutest dad being so funny.
And it just says, hey, how you doing, sweetheart? Sounds like a real-life episode of The Bachelorette up there.
He's sitting right next to me. And I'm like, he's like, well, that's funny. You'll have to explain that to me later. I'm like, oh gosh. So then, of course, we hang out the next day and the days after that. And so it's 9 days since I met him. We're hanging out. And then he walks me to my car that night after, and I give him a hug. And I look at my watch, and it says, like, 9 days since I met him. And I just laugh, and I'm like, how funny. It's only been 9 days, but I feel like I've known you forever.
And we had just had, like, a ton of fun. We were, like, on the tramp just stargating.
Yeah, it was, like, 3 in the morning. We were just, like, being so goofy and laughing about everything.
And having the best time ever. Just so in love. So in love.
But we haven't said that yet, because obviously you can't love somebody after 9 days.
Until you can. Which is what I said. She gets done saying her thing about how we've known each other for 9 days and how crazy it was and how it feels like it's been so much longer. And I was like, yeah. And in those 9 days, I think I've learned to love you.
How romantic.
I thought I nailed it. I thought I totally
He did.
Nailed it.
Oh, he totally did. And I gave you the biggest hug, and I think I said thank you. So, he tells me he loves me. But in order to, like, solidify that, you have to, like, do something big and crazy. So, little did he know.
Wasn't aware of this.
You don't really, but it just kind of worked out that way. So, a few days later, his family's getting ready to go on their big, fun lake trip to Fish Lake.
The whole family.
Which I did not know. I thought it was him, his siblings, and his parents. So they're getting ready to go, and I just had this thought, like, I feel like I'm gonna get invited. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that. I actually had no idea.
I told you that.
Premonition that
I kind of had this feeling. So we're getting ready. I'm like helping his family pack, and his dad goes, have you ever been to Fish Lake?
And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he's about to do what he's gonna do.
And I'm like, no, never. And he goes, do you want to come with us?
And I was like,
and I look at Drake, and I'm like, sure. But if it's okay with him.
What she doesn't know, and what my dad seems to have forgotten for a moment, is that the Fish Lake trip is the trip that you take the woman to that you're planning on marrying. 10 days, 10, 11 days, I'd known her at this point. Maybe a week, a little over a week.
Yeah, it was like 11, 12 days.
And I was all of a sudden going to be taking this girl that I'd known for 12 days to the trip that the entire family recognizes as the final trip that you take single.
I had no idea. I just thought it was going to be him, his parents, and his siblings. So I go home and tell my parents that I am going on a family vacation with this guy that I just met. I've told them about him. I've showed them pictures. They knew how much I liked him. Because I never acted like this with any guy.
Her dad was actually a little impressed that I'd been able to stick around as long as I had. Because by this time, he told me, like, usually by this time, she's like looking for a way out. I must have done something right then.
I guess. So they're like, you are not gonna go until we meet this guy. So I'm like, okay, fine.
Sounds good. Because they're good parents. They're concerned parents.
Totally.
So,
and I really like him. So I'm like, I want my parents to like him. So.
This time when my dad met her, it was like the second or third time that my parents met her. So we're still very fresh. We're still cruising along at a red hot pace here.
I know.
And her parents are trying to figure it out. And they come up with a brilliant solution.
Let's go to dinner. We'll just meet in the middle and have a nice fancy dinner. So we go to the Cheesecake Factory.
How'd you do?
Of course. And my dad wanted to impress him, so he wore like his red Nikes. And
I love it.
Him and my dad are so cute together. It's my favorite. So my dad's trying to impress him, and I'm like, just don't say anything embarrassing. Like, don't do anything crazy. And we actually had a very enjoyable time. Like, my dad was quoting movies with Drake, and my mom was being super funny, and Drake was loving it, and I could just see them all working together.
It was a great dynamic. I had wild hair still. I still had my wild bleach hair. So that wasn't the best, but we were hitting it off. I just gotten off work, so I was in a little bit nicer attire. And it was coming to a close. We exited the restaurant. We had a nice little walk.
Yeah, just talked.
Just you and I.
Yeah.
Her parents kind of let us have a moment. It was great. And we get back and we get ready to go home. And that's when the sparks really start to fly.
Literally, waterworks are everywhere. So I'm walking back. I'm like, wow, nothing embarrassing or crazy has happened. This is so successful. And here we go, walking to the parking lot, the parking garage.
Her parents and then us.
There's a creek that runs through City Creek. So my mom turns her back and says, guys, it's over here.
There's the escalator.
Into the creek. Falls into the creek of the City Creek. I'm just embarrassed.
I saw it coming. I didn't know what to do. I've known this woman for 2 hours.
But he goes to the rescue.
Yeah. I had no idea what else to do. So I watched her fall, and I'm, like, nervous. I'm like, oh, man, that was, like, a solid 2 feet that she just stepped and just fell.
Oh.
Like, if you could brace, like, if you had a little bit of cushion or, like, tried to brace yourself as you fell, that'd be okay. But she just went down, and I was like, oh, no, there's rocks down there.
There's fish down there. Oh my gosh. And I'm just like, I just fall to my knees. I'm like, no. I'm like, we were so close to making it like a nice, normal family.
Yeah.
And my dad's like, oh no, what happened?
She's just standing there in shock.
Just in shock. And Drake just hurdles the creek, pulls my mom out, gets her purse, dumps out the water.
She literally dumped water out of her purse, like a cartoon.
Oh, gosh.
A ton of it, like a whole gallon of water.
So my mom really did just fall for Drake.
I was like, well, I think I have to marry this girl because
that is a great story.
That's such an amazing story to tell literally everyone. First time I met my mother-in-law, she fell for me into a creek.
Yeah.
How perfect is that?
I know, right? And here we are. Now you can say that.
Telling the whole...
My mom did say that story at our wedding. So we make it through. He knows my mom's safe. And now we have my family embarrassment out of the way, and we have a whole vacation with his family coming up.
All of a sudden, here we are in this relationship.
Officially.
Yeah, that's a great way of describing this stage.
Like, people would ask, and I'm like, I don't know. He's not really my boyfriend. I spend all my time with him, and I kiss him, and, like, he knows my family, and I'm going on vacation, but I don't think he's my boyfriend.
Yeah, and it had all just gone so so smoothly.
Everything just fell into place.
We had all the things that we needed, family relationships, and, lots of laughs and happiness, joy. And it was so easy.
So easy.
Like, I don't remember really anything that had ever been that easy in my life. And I look back on that time and often, I look back on that time and I just remember it and use it as a reminder that that's what life can be and what it should be, It's a reminder that there is a higher plan.
Yeah, way bigger than us.
That God set all this up and we have to play our part. That's what it felt like. It just felt like destiny. I know that's cheesy. I know I sound like a hopeless romantic, right? But it just felt like it was destined to be. And it was so smooth because it was what God wanted. And that's the truth. If you're doing what you're supposed to do, if you have your righteous desires, you're going to get blessed for it. And it's going to work out for you.
I would have to agree with everything he said. Like, it was just so divinely laid out. And, it was so easy at the beginning, but that doesn't mean we haven't gone through hard things. And, like, obviously we've had our ups and downs and struggles. But through it, it's like we can look back at this and be like, hey, there was a reason. Like, we literally, there was a global pandemic. And we were on opposite sides of the world, and we ended up together meeting, and, everything fell into place to be together. And so I think along with him, it's like if you just are doing it and then doing what you're supposed to, but also just enjoying it as it goes. Because I think that's what I love about looking back and telling the stories. It's like we just enjoyed everything we were doing and, gave credit to God and, always acknowledged how he brought us together, and then just enjoyed the moments we had, the memories that we were making. And I think that's just the key of life, just knowing that God brought you here. So just enjoy whatever situation you're in, and life's gonna work out.
It can be everywhere, but remember, guys, life's out there, so go live it. We love you. Stay tuned for part 3 coming here soon.
Family vacation.